Morning, good afternoon, good night, and welcome back to another episode of the Heart to Heart podcast. As always, I'm the pasty ass host, Gregory Hart, and today I'm joined by another stand-up comedian, one that I've been really interested in interviewing. Shit goes back and forth. Everyone's schedules are busy as hell. And this guy, if you pay attention to his social media feed, you know the guy is all over the place. He's growing massively all the time. He was nominated for a comedy award at the Junos. He has been on Roast Battle Canada. He has a comedy album out called Trilipino. This man is all over the place all the time. It makes me exhausted just to follow him. I'm super stoked to chat with him today. I'm talking with Keith Pedro.
Yay, what's up, Greg, man?
I'm stoked to chat, dude. It's been a fucking minute, and it's well worth it. I'm stoked to chat with you. I've been seeing even more stuff that you're posting. Your acts are changing all the time. What's new? Like, what's going on with you? You seem like you're fucking bouncing all over the place.
Oh man, yeah, I will. It's been taking. Well, first of all, man, I'm glad we finally got to do this. Because we've been trying to get it on, and one thing led to another, and that just proves how busy we both are. So yeah, man, I've just been crazy busy, man. Just it's been last year was a dope year for me. I got nominated for that Juno, like you said, in a Canadian Screen Award for Roast Battles, and then I did my my Trilipino tour in the States and in Canada. So it was crazy, and then now it's more like recovery mode. So now, like, because I got my merch, we're trying to re-up on some merch, trying to drop a new like collabo with another merchandiser.
Nice.
And we're just trying to do more stuff, and then I'm trying to extend my US tour. So we're thinking of more spots in Texas, Florida, more spots in California as well. We're trying to go to Chicago, Houston. Like, it's gonna be nuts what we got planned out, me and my team. And there's a few things too that's gonna be happening that I can't announce yet.
Nice.
But
I love
this
that
is gonna
shit.
be another good year for me.
Where are you located now? Like, where is your home base?
So right now, my home base is Toronto. I am in
Nice.
Toronto, but I'm back and forth in California a lot. That people have no idea where I am, which is great. But I have a family, so I'm a family man. So we all know that sometimes with free healthcare, you might want to keep staying in Canada, buddy. You might want to.
Yeah. No, it's definitely worth the jump back and forth for sure.
Yeah.
You married? How many kids you got?
Yeah, married, 4 kids, man. Too many. Married, well, not really married. I'm new school married. I have my partner, and we live together and we have kids together, but we just haven't really made that.
Yeah.
I knocked her up first.
That a boy.
Is what I
Bro,
right. So
I
yeah.
am not fucking busy. You're like, we're both supposed to be busy, bro. You're traveling across North America. You have 4
Yeah.
fucking kids. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, man. It's nuts. I got twins in 2019. I have a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old. So I had a 20-year-old and 16-year-old when I was a young age, and then I started making moves as a comedian, and then things got crazy successful. And then I slipped one in the 5-hole in 2019 with my girl, and got some twins. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's crazy. Here's the funny thing: is that my
That's
daughter though
wild.
yeah, dude. The crazy thing though is my daughter is my stepdaughter, and my son's my son, and my twins are my twins. So if you really think about it, I've only had sex twice, but I have 4 kids. You know what I mean? Like, I busted 2 nuts. So,
Those are expensive nuts to bust, dude.
yeah,
That's
yeah, that's it. That's what it is.
but
My dick's
honestly,
my
bro.
dollar out of deal.
But I'm sure, like, as much as I'm sure in 2019, who knows if you were still looking for kids, but I know it's a blessing. Yeah, like, I'm sure twins was a fucking wild ride, but it's always one of those, like, in the moment you're kind of like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm also speaking as a 27-year-old that doesn't have any kids, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about yet. But I gotta
It's all
admit, I
good.
gotta say, like, you have kids, and you learn to live with it, and obviously they're kids that you love, and it wouldn't change it for the world now. So,
Yeah. No,
man,
I go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna jump into the rest of the comedy. Like, I can't. I just started doing stand-up comedy, like just did an okay, I can't say just did it. I was in an accident, was off for a couple months due to a car accident, but before that I did a stand-up a little open mic, and I'm excited to get more into it. And that's when I started interviewing comedians. Like I interviewed Big Norm, seeing that you guys have done some tours together. That guy's fucking unreal too.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, watching you guys, like following your social media and watching you go all over the states, like when did this fucking hit you? And you're like, I'm rolling. Like I'm selling out shows. I'm getting gigs across North America. I'm able to get clubs. Like when did this change for you?
To tell you the truth, man, I'm not gonna lie. Everything was on a roll, and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah,
So
that
I
fucked
got
a lot of people.
management. Yeah. So I had management in the States, in LA, and then it kind of like they were like, all right, let's start getting you some stuff. And then bam, the pandemic hit. And then even like people who were like killer headliners weren't even living in Hollywood anymore because there wasn't anything going on. They all went back home to like Indianapolis or Chicago or even like some people, obviously the pandemic is what made Austin, Texas such a huge
Yeah,
comedy
hell
spot.
yeah.
So people moved, right? So and then when the pandemic hit, I started doing some stuff online that started like getting some viral attention during the pandemic. And then they started shooting Roast Battles Canada, and I was on all of those seasons. And we got season 3 about to drop, so I'm gonna be on that too. So like, yeah, I've been blessed. Like
Hell yeah.
ever since before the pandemic, so probably like maybe 2018, 2019, things were started rolling in a good way. And I would like to say right when the pandemic fucking finished, people, I can swear on this, right?
Yeah. You say whatever
Yeah.
you want.
Okay.
There's
Cool.
no
Cool. Yeah.
filter.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Cool. Right when I did another podcast, and I was like, "Yeah, man, some fucking shit," and and the guys were like, the hosts were like, "Yeah, if you really don't really give a f," and I'm like, "If a f," I'm like, Are we? It's like we try to stay awake, stay clean. I'm like, "Oh, well, shit, man, what the fuck? You should have told me." Like, you know what I mean? Like, so,
I was
but
just watching
yeah.
the fucking video of you trying to say the code, and it was like anal
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
cowgirl shit, and I'm like, fuck. Like no, definitely no filter here. But I gotta say, like just watching your stuff and watching you travel and stuff always gets me fired up, and it's just like such a motivator to like you fucking grind and grind and grind and grind. And comedy's a fucking weird beast. No one fucking
Yeah.
understands. If you're not a part of it, you don't really understand it. I can't really say that I'm a part of it, but I'm definitely having a huge respect and understanding of how much you guys push, for how many years you guys push to get to where you are. And some guys push for 10, 15 years, still like end up getting to a headlining act. But to be able to travel and get management stuff just gets harder. And it seems like when you talk about when the pandemic started, you started doing social media and making stuff on to go viral and do videos. It's crazy, and it's amazing how much social media and stuff has made it so that comedians can take over their own career instead of going to like a
Yeah.
Just for Laughs festival and having some guy that maybe isn't even a comedian
Yeah.
judge you on your act, even though you're killing and you're lighting up a crowd, be the choice of whether or not you go any farther, kind of was dog shit. So it's kind of sweet to be able to take over your own career and do your own thing. Like I think it's helped so much.
Oh yeah, man. And I think well, the best thing about Just for Laughs is it's actually one of those festivals where like if I'm talking to any up and coming comedian, I'm like, that's the only thing you should worry about doing. There's a lot of other comedy festivals that where it's just like whatever, but that's such an industry built, and that's how I got the management, was through that fest. Someone saw me, was
Nice.
like, blah, blah, from the States. So you could do both. And I think the thing with me though was that's what it was. My social media was, because I'll be honest with you, in 2018 my girl was pregnant and I wanted with the twins, so I was gonna take a break. So I started doing all these recordings. I started recording all the stuff for comedy albums and just stuff to make residual income. I shot some stuff for TV.
Yeah.
I did all this cool shit. I did a lot of prepared some videos to post. Like I think every set I did, I filmed it.
For you.
I was like, I'm gonna post clip, and I paid videographers, editors, all that shit. And then bam, the pandemic hit, and I started dropping content because I told my girl, I'm like, yo, when 2020 hits and these babies come, I'm taking a break because we're expecting twins in 2019, So I was like, so when these twins come, I'm taking a break. I'm just gonna stay at home. I'll post, and then I have like some writing jobs that I do for networks and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'll just pick up the writing jobs and don't do the tour, right? But then the pandemic hit, and people are just like, "Oh my god, man, how the hell did you do this?" Blah, 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 blah. They had no idea that I was just prepared for this break.
That's
So people
fucking
thought I'm like,
awesome.
they're like, "Yo, you're such a hustler, man. You're working so hard." I'm like, "Dog,
Perfect timing. Holy
perfect
shit.
timing." It was just perfect. Exactly, it was just perfect timing for me. And the crazy thing, back to your question, was as a regular comedian who was just trying to kill it on stage, my manager was the one who told me, you got to start posting more, because I can't do anything on my end to show, like, here's my client, and all I can show them is fucking you posting a picture of your sneakers. That's not fucking enough, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how it came to be. So he my like shout out to my management team, because if it without them, they wouldn't, like, they kind of put everything in perspective for me. Because when you're in Canada, you're more like, oh, if I just put in the work, it's just gonna,
Yeah.
someone's gonna, but yeah. So
Fucking dreams are
but
gonna fall out of the clouds.
yeah, exactly. So it's more of the best part is, it's like you can control your destiny with your social media, but don't. My only advice is to, I know comics who cater to social media so well that it's a detachment from their stage persona. So then when
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people see them from their skits online, or what they post online, and they see them in person, it's such a big, like, what the fuck, I didn't expect this. So they kind of lose fans that way. So I'm glad that everything, that my success is all coming from shit that I wanted to do. Like, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like, like, I'm not out here wearing a wig or doing things that, like, I don't expect people to see me when they come see my show. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, no, it fucking works. Like
yeah.
you could easily do a 20-minute, no, that's not it. Like you could do a 20-minute set and have a kick-ass joke that always hits really hard, the rest dog shit. And that's the
Yeah.
fucking thing that you share. Someone comes to see you and they're just disappointed because they expected the rest of the act to go similar. Or you're a
Yeah.
different person on social media than you are in your actual stand-up, and someone comes to see the person that they see on the internet. I don't know if I'm hitting it right on the head of what you're saying, but that's how it feels sometimes. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Exactly. No, you're getting it.
man, it's just wild to think about, like, the start of someone's career and like where they start out and like going to these open mics or going to do these bringer shows and all this stuff. And I haven't had to do a bringer show yet. I got very lucky with the first show, I guess. Didn't have to bring anyone, but to go from that to, like, you're like verified on Instagram, you have 125,000 people that follow your page all the time. You're going to Clippers games, sitting there throwing t-shirts out. Your name's up on the jumbo screen. Like what the fuck is going on? Like from COVID till now, you're just killing it, growing every
Thank you,
day.
man.
I had to reach out to you immediately. I'm like,
Thank
this
you.
fucker's gonna be on Rogan in a couple of years. I gotta be the podcast he did before Joe. I gotta fucking slide in there. But what's next goal for you? You did the stand up, you did the social media posting throughout the pandemic, got you some great time with your twins. What's your next goal? Like stuff that you can release.
Yeah, the next goal is I'm currently working on another comedy album. This one's gonna be like more of a special. I got
Nice.
extending the tour that we did. Basically doing what I'm doing, but doing it bigger. I do a lot of dope stuff in Canada, and I'm trying to bring that to the United States and LA and New York, and trying to bring that flavor, because I'm at a point where, like, it's crazy, because I did this tour in LA and California. So I was in, like, San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, a lot of places in Orange County, Hollywood, obviously. And I was half and half, because I was doing this tour, and then I was jumping on shows. I was doing this tour while I was headlining clubs, and then I
Yeah.
was doing shows where people didn't know me. And it
Yeah.
was like night and day. So I get this one, I show up to this one spot, hey, Mr. Pedro, come this way. Yeah, free shit. Da, da, da. And the other one's like, who the fuck's this guy? We don't know this guy. And then it's crazy, because, LA's LA, right? It's Hollywood. So you'll get the cold shoulder until they see what you can do. So I remember I went to this one show, and people were just punking me off, fellow comics and just producers, bartenders, we name it. And then all of a sudden I killed the show, and everybody was just on my dick, and I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, exactly. So it's a bittersweet because I'm here in Canada and I'm more of like the OG where the headliner people know me, and then people do know me in the States, but I'm still not as established as I am here. So I'm kind of what's new for me is bringing that shit over.
Yeah, how intimidating was going to the States? Because I'm also not in this industry of like doing the TV stuff and doing the lines and doing like the comedy traveling like that. How
Yeah.
intimidating is it when you see like the Hollywood, the Improv, the store, like all these different places in the States? Were you intimidated your first time going over there and hitting one of those clubs?
Yeah, this is the first club I ever hit when I think it was 2013, I think 2013.
Wow.
Was Chicago Improv. I did a whole weekend. I was asked to host a whole weekend there, and it's
That's
it's
dope.
intimidating because you go to Yuck Yucks, and here's the thing with me when I started, and this is I'm not I'll be straight blunt, like I didn't know anything about Canadian comedy. I came up in the comedy game. I only knew like Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle,
Yeah, yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
George
yeah. The
Carlin,
big ones. Yeah.
the basics, right? So I didn't know like like OGs like Mike McDonald and like who else big Canadian like what's his name? I look, I still don't know. Steve Patterson and guys on CBC. I didn't know all these cool dudes. So when you go to like a Yuck Yucks, you see all these faces on the wall, and I was like, I don't know these people. I don't know none of these fucking people. And then you go to the Improv in Chicago, and it's like, well, I know that guy. That's fucking, that's
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Rock. That's Dave Chappelle. That's Cat
It's gotta be
Williams.
such a
That's
good
Steve
fucking feeling.
Harvey. And you're like, everybody's on the wall, and it's like they're young faces too, like how early they came up, and you're just like, wow, I'm on this place with this wall, and like it's not, and it is the night the treatment's not our day too. I remember the first time I was in Chicago Improv. The waitress is like, yo, what do you want? I'm like, and I ordered my drink, blah, blah, blah. And then so I'm doing a weekend. So I'm there from Thursday to Sunday. So Thursday, I do the shows, I order 2 drinks, and that's it. And then I go, oh, can I settle up? And I think I ordered like 2 Heinekens. She's like, can I settle up? She's like, no, you're a comedian. You're on the house, buddy. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, bro. Greg, next day, wasn't a Heineken order. Trust me, it wasn't
Yeah.
fucking.
No,
I
no.
ordered Hennessy,
Yeah.
Jameson, bro.
Yeah.
I loaded the fuck up. You know what I mean? So I
She's
was
like, you
just,
pay today. You pay today.
yeah, yeah, no. I thought she was going to, but at the end, she was like, nope. Have a good weekend. Have a good. I was like, oh shit, it was crazy. Yeah,
Dude,
man.
that's
And I was like the
fucking
new guy.
awesome.
I was like the host. I wasn't even the headliner or the middle. Like I was literally the new guy, and they were still treating me like gold. And I'm like, wow, this is night or day. I go, this is night or day.
Bro, I hadn't interviewed comedians yet. At the beginning, it was it was a fucking stupid way to start the podcasting. My biggest goal
Yeah.
was just to try and reach as many people as fast as fucking
Mhm.
possible. So like I interviewed, like I don't regret the interviews by any means. I interviewed some sweet people, but it was more of like trying to interview people that were on like Netflix shows like The Circle or people
Yeah.
that were on like Love Island or this kind of stuff. And like they had cool
Yeah.
fucking stories, but it wasn't the kind of like it was harder to do the interview because I wasn't fucking stoked to hear about their journey because it wasn't a journey that
Mhm.
I would love to have too, right? So just like hearing about you going to Chicago and seeing these fucking guys on the wall and hoping that your fucking picture's on that wall one of these days. I was so dumb and naive to what the comedy scene was. I went for my open mic. I don't know if you know who Seth MacFarlane is.
Yeah.
No, Sandy. Sandy MacFarlane
Yes. Yes. Of course.
from
Yes.
I always say the crazy Canuck, Rusty
Rusty
Nail.
Nail.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was with him
So
on Tuesday.
that's where I did my first open mic, and he was fucking awesome. Like he brings us in. He's like, you're the talent. I'm like, the fuck, you haven't seen me yet. I might be dog shit. He's like, nope, you drink and eat for free. And I'm kind of like, this is fucking wild. Because at that point, I'd only heard podcasts of comedians who have been to all these different
Yeah.
types of places where you either get treated like garbage or you fight for the pay that you were told you were going to get for that week or you're
Yeah.
fighting for different spots. And it was like that really awesome, like the guy's a beauty. I've only seen him a few times, but he was fucking awesome to deal with.
Yeah.
But hearing you going over to Chicago and all these cutthroat cities like New York and LA, and I just interviewed a guy from that performs like every week at the Hollywood Improv, Brian Monarch, and he's talking about like,
Yeah.
I'm going to LA in September, and I go on a fucking tangent like this and forget that I'm just not stop talking. But
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
regardless, you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's some fucking clubs that are such a different vibe, and you're just treated so much different at certain ones. So, like when you're talking about getting free Heineken, you're like, I'm gonna take the fucking Hennessy next time. It's like certain clubs ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, no, it's not, and it's crazy because Sandy is still like, back to your thing. Sandy is still one of the few guys who do that, and that's a crazy thing. And like I'll do a show. Like I remember I had to come back. So you talked about the Clippers game and all that stuff. I did this whole run in LA. Last thing I had to do was this Clippers game, and then I had to zoom back to do this private like golf course function in Sudbury. Sorry,
Shit.
Sudbury. So obviously I'm not leaving LA for nothing, right? So I come back, I do this amazing gig, and it was great, and I guess whatever, the pay was nice, but and again I come back, the guy's like, yeah, man, you got to pay your tab. I was like, I just performed all over for 3 weeks in the coolest places in the world, and I come back to Sudbury to just
Fucking
get
golf
slapped
course.
in the face with
Oh,
reality. And the crazy thing is, like, you're a golf course, man. You guys are printing money. Stop this. But yeah, and it was funny.
man.
And I was just, but that's the best thing about what I like about coming back home as a Canadian performer. It's like you get nice cold water splash right into your face to remind
Yeah.
you ain't shit, buddy.
Bro, like it really separates the fucking comedians that are fucking going for it all and the ones that are half-assing the fucking game. Like, for you to go to a golf course and do a private event, I'm
Yeah.
obviously so nervous because I have only done one comedy act. I can't wait to fucking do the next one. I'm gonna do Levity in Hamilton next. But
Fuck yeah. Patrick
I
Copolino
that's his name.
that runs it. Yeah. The
Oh,
owner. I
I
know
just I
Patrick.
just
Yeah.
messaged
Sorry.
him on LinkedIn to get a spot. So, but
Sorry. Go ahead.
no,
Yeah.
it's all right. Um, for you, you're the comedian that's fucking grinding. Like, you're flying back from LA where you're just crushing these fucking clubs. You're going to Clippers games to do a fucking private event golf course to get more time in, meet more people, share your name to more fucking people. And it's such a harder event when you're at a private golf course event than when you're at a club where people know they're coming for comedy. They're coming for no filter. They're coming for the act that you're coming to perform. That's why I find it so fucking strong for the comedians that will do a birthday party or a private event, or like, these got to be so much fucking harder than going to do a traditional stand-up.
Oh, 100%, man. The thing with it is, like, to me, I'll be honest with you, man. And this might sound whatever, but I'll just go with them. If the money's good, I'll go. I'll do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You
Fucking
know what I
right.
mean?
Pays
I'm
fucking
trying.
bills. It's how you get more
Yeah, but
successful. Like, let's roll.
I'm Krusty the Clown, man. I'll sell anything. I'll sell out. I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a shit. But no, I remember one time, and this is when I was coming up. I did a gig in a house. I did a private house party for this guy's birthday. And I've never performed comedy with no mic and socks on, in a living room. Like, I feel like it was just like, what do I do with my hands, man? I don't even know. So it was, yeah, and it's the come up, but like it is obviously harder when you have to do like when I did that. Here's the thing, that golf course. So I had to land in Toronto, and then they flew me out to Sudbury from Porter. So they flew me out, and I did all this stuff. The crazy thing about it was I was treated well as if it was a club. But then once I got there, like I felt like it was for a private company. It was a private party for a company, and I feel like they didn't even know there was a comedian. Because like when they told me to go up, everybody looked like they were ready to go. Like it finished the silent auction, and like people had their prizes and centerpieces already
Oh
in their hand. And I'm
man.
like, now you want me to? These guys are hammered. They're ready to fucking go and get a shawarma, or like, you know
It's like
what I mean?
following the closer.
Yeah,
Like,
like nuggets. But I ended up doing it, and then but it was great because the
that's
guy already paid me. He paid me the minute I got a deposit. He paid me the minute. He paid the rest the minute I got in there. And then he was like, you got to do 45 to an hour. People were so drunk, so hammered, so out of it by the time I got on. The guy was like, yeah, just do 20. And I'm like, sick.
perfect.
I'm like,
Yes.
done.
And pay
Done.
for your fucking beers.
At the same, I was like, done. Even better. I'll pay for the beers, man. You tell
Yeah,
me
you
about
save me
you.
25 minutes in this shit
Yeah,
show.
yeah, you exactly. And the crazy thing was about it was I probably could have did the full hour because by the time some people staggered out and left, but
Yeah.
the people who ended up staying were loving it. But I was just like, nah, this is let me just finish it. And then it was great. It was great either way. Like, but at the same time, man, like that's such a fun experience.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's
I love
so
comedy.
funny.
I love doing it. So it's not like, you know.
Dude, no, that should be on your fucking resume. I don't know if comedians have fucking resumes, but
Yeah.
showed up to private event. Half the crowd is clapped. They're about to fucking leave, and I still kill. I kill fucking private corporate events. These fucking bastards. Oh yeah, I will crush any
Yeah.
stage when the people are actually expecting to receive comedy. That's fucking wild. A
Yeah.
lot of
I'm
balls
I'm
to
I'm good.
fly out to that shit.
Yeah,
Throughout your
man.
time like traveling to north, like obviously across North America, did you have a favorite club or a club like throughout your like childhood and growing up and starting comedy and following other comedians? Was there a club that like was like, I want to be someone who does a fucking show at that club? Like that's when I know I'm at a level that I'm fucking happy with or proud of.
Oh yeah, man. Probably two was the Ice House in Pasadena because
Heard that one before.
uh um yeah, because that was like Johnny Carson's club. If you when you go there, you could see all the shoes he used to wear on the club. They have it like literally stapled on the wall, like each pair. It's
That's
crazy. And
fucking
then
wild.
or I don't know if it's glued, stapled, who knows? But
Yeah.
and then the Comedy Store, of course, the store. So I've been lucky enough to do those multiple times, and I'm going back to the store actually on March 9th. I'll be there doing 2 shows. But with that being said, like yeah, man,
Comedy
it's
store.
always it's always been, you know, a dream to do, like, to me it's always been a dream to just do anything in down south, right? I feel like there was 2 shows that I was really wanting to get on as when I started up in Canada. It was the all black Kenny Robinson show, the Nubian show at Yuck Yucks, which is like Def Comedy Jam. Fucking place is wild. People dress up like they're going to nightclubs. They have like bottles of fucking champagne and the booths in the back. All like
Oh yeah.
yeah, man, like famous people who are in town will come. I remember like DMX
Oh
watched the show one
shit.
time. Yeah, it was crazy, man. And that show's been going on for like 30 years. So shout out to Kenny Robinson, man. He's been holding it down. And I remember I doing that show, and I'm like, I want to do fucking that show. So then, but like now I'm like kind of out of like goals in Canada. So um anything you want to do in the States is fun. And I was just like, as long as I can do an improv, or there's a picture of me on stage holding the mic with an improv sign in the back, I'm happy. You know?
Dude, so fucking true. Like, I only like got so much more into comedy at the beginning of the pandemic when I started the podcast. When I started watching a lot more podcasters and watched Rogan, then I watched Segura and Kreischer and Santino and Bobby Lee, and like the store was their fucking place. Like that's where all these
Yeah.
guys practiced their routines and got their specials ready. And that fucking place, I've heard about it a million times, and it's definitely the place I'm going to visit when I get to LA in September. But that's fucking incredible for you to be able to perform at a place like that. Like that's got to feel so goddamn good. Like I've heard a lot of those guys talk about the fact that they'd rather the store or an improv or like certain places like the Ice Hut.
Yeah, Ice House, yeah.
They'd rather those than some of the stadiums they sell out. Obviously, the stadiums sell and make a lot of fucking money, but nothing like the feeling of some of those clubs. Like, have you ever had to do a
Yeah.
round, like a round room?
No, I have not yet to do. I've done a round room, but not a round stage. Like
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 where you're in
like
the
Dane
middle?
Cook's circle. Like yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
I've done a room where it's like it goes from like this side, like kind of. I've done a C.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never done a full circle, but I've done a C. But yeah, man. You know what actually has a great club, and this is, I'll tell you right now, out of all the clubs that I've done though, but you know, I recently did Cobb's, which was like Robin Williams' club in
Yep.
San Francisco. That was where he came up. I must say though, after doing San Jose and San Francisco a few times, I the Bay Area is best crowd, hands down,
That's
ten
fucking
thousand
cool. That's good
percent.
to know.
That's why, you know, a lot of people like a lot of guys have their specials in the Bay. Like I think Michael Che does one in Oakland. I think Dave Chappelle does one in San Francisco. Like Louis does one. Like, and you always wonder why come they're always doing specials in the Bay. And then I figured it out. When you go there, it's like crazy. It's nuts.
Some of those nights where you're doing like the Bay Area or the Comedy Store or the Improv, like, have you gotten to match up? Like, because I don't know exactly how it works. I'm obviously so out of the fucking game you're in, but you see like the lineups of comedians that do like a Thursday night, a Friday night, or a Saturday night, and you see the fucking lineup. Have you gotten to perform on the same night and share stages with guys that you looked up to?
Oh man. So I did this one show in LA, and it's the all black show. It's called Mo Better Mondays, right? And I don't think it's around anymore. I think D. Ray Davis took it over, but I did that show, and I was on, and then there was already cool guys. Like, I don't know if you know Bill Bellamy from Def Comedy Jam, but he was on Any Given Sunday. He's done a lot of dope shit. So Bill Bellamy was already on the show. I saw Jeff Ross was chilling
Oh
in
shit.
the green room. He was hanging out, but I don't
That's
think he
cool.
was on. So it looked like a dope vibe. And then the producer kind of like tapped me and he goes, yo, yo, yo. And so it was crazy because they didn't really fuck with me at that point, right? So I was just alley-ooped to these gigs. So people didn't really know me. So people
Yeah,
this guy just called me Canada. He's like, yo, Canada. I guess it's like yo, Canada. Mike Epps is about to show up, man. You got bumped. So I had to go like not right after, but Mike Epps showed up
shit.
and he fucking murdered, man. He murdered. And this is when
It'd be tough.
so yeah, it was crazy. And I had this joke about probably a joke I can't do now, but it was a joke about why I would never want to fight a gay guy because and so but I had this fight because I think they're the toughest guys in the world because that's what I say in this old joke that's obviously old and that day the dude, I forgot his name, but remember that guy came out of the closet in the NBA, the first thing, Jason Collins, a long time ago. He came out the closet that day in the NBA, and then I opened up the show by using that news article headline and then adding it to
Explain
the
the
joke
joke.
that I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
already.
that's sick.
So they thought I fucking invented fire, bro. They're like, this guy's a genius. He just thought of that now. Like, you know what I mean? So
That's a good fucking feeling. In front of
yeah,
people
so and it
like
was
that.
great. And then yeah, and it was crazy too because the host was he didn't even show me no love too. He was just like, yeah, this guy, he's from Canada. We about to see this motherfucker's money. And that was it.
Wow.
And then yeah,
Oh.
buddy.
I can't
It
imagine
was
the
great.
pressure they put on. Like, I wouldn't obviously know, but like, was there more pressure being the out of towner, like being the guy coming from a different country to take stage time from the Americans? Like, what did it feel like that? Did it feel like robbery?
It's crazy because every place I go, there's Canadians killing it.
Oh,
If
that's
you go to New
fucking sick.
York, there's like Nathan Mac. I don't know if you know Nathan McIntosh. He's doing well in New York. Homie Ryan Long's doing well in New York. Then you got guys and people in LA like Steph Tolev and Deborah Giovanni, and even now like my homie Matt O'Brien. Like guys are just killing it in LA. And then when I'm there, when I show up there, I'm like, yeah, blah blah blah. They're like, oh, where you from, bro? I'm like, I'm Canadian. They're like, fucking Canadians. What's in that water, man? What the hell, you guys?
Oh, it's
One of my
it's
homies, yeah. But
no, go ahead.
no, so one of these guys, one of my homies from the States is like, do you guys is it so cold in Canada that you guys just write so much jokes that you wait until the fucking paper catches on fire?
Yeah. Wait till the summer to tell them like it's too fucking cold and
Yeah,
I ain't going on this shit. But it almost seems like we get to see the fucking dream across the border.
yeah,
I understand the opportunity is growing here, but there's not an opportunity here to do as big or go as big. Like obviously people like Russell Peters and Jim Carrey and Mike Myers and shit that fucking grew like crazy, but the
yeah.
percentage of us to do it is not fucking huge. And you see this happen over the border. You chase this fucking dream when you leave this country. When you go over there, you're putting out everything you fucking got to try and make a point and grow and make a living. Like that's just how it feels. Obviously, I haven't fucking done it, but that's just how it feels. Like you're ready to fucking push that dream of chasing it in the big USA.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have to like you said that you're not really in it, but like you see it though. You know what's up, and like it it feels more because everybody knows here. I remember. Okay, let me put this in perspective. I
Yeah, yeah.
remember somebody told me in a podcast. He said, how come everybody has to leave Canada? Like actors, Canadians. Why does everybody have to leave? And I go, well, the problem with Canada is we don't have a star system here. If you look at like all the most popular Canadian, like all the Canadian networks here play a lot of American content. Like, you know what I mean? There's no real star system because you only become famous once Americans call you famous. You can't, you know what I'm saying? So, and he was like, that's not true. And I said, well, name me a famous Canadian that's not famous in America. And dude couldn't answer.
It's fucking true.
Right. Don Cherry, maybe. I don't fucking know.
You people.
Right. I don't know.
Oh shit.
But
yeah, it's fucking true, man. I interviewed Dave Merhej, and he's in LA at the time.
That's the homie, yeah.
And he said the same thing. He's like, I fucking been acting, I've been doing comedy here, and I'm fucking grinding over here in LA. But he's like, I want to bring that shit to Toronto. Like, Toronto's a fucking city you could bring a starlight to. Like, are you kidding me? There's not enough fucking people that are killing it in acting or comedy or whatever it may be to bring a starship to fucking Toronto. Like, he said he'd like love to be able to like start making his own show in Toronto and bring stuff back to Canada. Like, it'd be nice if like the people like Jim Carrey and Mike Myers and Russell Peters and these big Canadian people would bring some of that power back and try and build something here. But I don't know, maybe it's just hard. Most of the fucking everyone across the fucking world loves USA fucking power. Apparently, like, they love the USA lines, which I don't blame them. Like, the shit they do is working clearly accurately. So,
well, I just think it's more of the opportunity, right? Because
true.
You got to really think, like a guy like Russell Peters, who's really good at what he does, but he did his own show, The Indian Detective, and it didn't really do well because at the same time, like, Canada, you still have to cater to like Saskatchewan and those other provinces that people forget about. But like,
forget they're up there sometimes.
Yeah. So I guess ratings go. That's why fucking Corner Gas kills, dude. That's why Corner Gas was so good that they had to turn it into a cartoon. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I have my manager here, and I have my manager in the States. So I have two managers, I have a Canadian manager and an American manager. And they always get on these like group chats and these meetings, and I have this show idea, and they're like, Keith, where do you want to bring it? And I'm like, well, I kind of don't want to bring it to keep it in Canada, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like,
it's fucking hard.
It's hard. And like, I'm not saying Canada can't produce good stuff.
You could have a great idea, a lot of good stuff. Fucking fail here.
Yeah. Look, Kitchen Convenience did really well. Working Moms is doing really well. Those are great shows that Americans love as well. I just think that for me, in my personal point of view, in my personal comedic voice, I don't think it can cater to a lot of Canadians. You know what I mean? It's fair.
It's also your shit that you're looking at producing. You know what takes from you. You know who's gonna accept it and enjoy it. Like, there's no point in taking the fucking risk, that big of a risk, to start your own show and not push it to the biggest fucking broadcasting country in the world. Like,
of course, and I have stuff for Canadian. I've sold some Canadian ideas to Canadian shows and networks and stuff like that. And there is stuff that there's a good market. So I'm not saying to anybody listen that, oh, don't do it. No, there's the good shit in Canada. This is the stuff that I had, that one show idea in particular. I was like, no, this has to go down south. But I have a lot of dope stuff and given a lot of dope stuff to the Canadian industry, and they accepted it with open arms. If they like it, they'll accept it. So it's not like it's hopeless. It all depends on what, like, the crazy thing about comedy is, like, there's so many end goals. There are so many end goals that you can do. You can be Kevin Hart and be a TV guy, or you could go Joe Rogan and be the podcast guy, or you could be fucking,
I know what you mean. Have you ever thought of doing a podcast?
I did a podcast for real, for a little bit during the pandemic. It was called Keith It Real.
Keith It Real, yeah, that's dope.
Keith It Real, and the only thing with the podcast with me was, because I have so much, a big family and everything, I wanted to do the whole like video and the guests. It was just way too much to set up, and I feel like by the time I wanted to start one, like everybody and their mama started one, and I felt like I couldn't bring anything new or dynamic to the table, and I was spending too much time doing other stuff. So
You're
I would
traveling a
still
lot
love to do
too.
one. Yeah, I
Yeah, I'm
got
just
one started up with my boy Marcel Williams. We're gonna start this one up. We shot a few episodes, but
nice.
he just shot a fucking Amazon movie in Paris, and then you know what I mean. So like
See, and a
everybody's
bet.
busy.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, we're gonna have to backlog 45 episodes for this year. Like,
yeah,
oh man,
yeah.
it's wild. Like, I just can't wait to like move, like looking at getting a house and building an actual studio so I can host people there instead of, hey, you want to come sit on my fucking sofa and like hang out. Like, that's just not the right fucking environment. Well, I started during fucking COVID, right? I was so
Yeah,
like Zoom was the only way to do it unless you want a fucking
yeah,
chance of thinking you're gonna die for 14 days. Like,
yeah,
so I just have a couple more questions for you. Do you
yeah,
have
yeah.
a favorite podcast? Like, do you listen to podcasts? Do you consume them?
You know what? I listen to a lot. But it's all like I'll listen to a podcast when I feel like it's an episode. Like I'm not loyal to anybody's podcast.
Yeah,
Does that
yeah,
make sense? Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not like, oh, it's this week, this week. I'll be like, oh, did you hear the news? So I'll jump from like Drink Champs from like Nori to the one with the Schultz podcast. Is it what's it called? Flagrant?
With Matt Sorelli or with Sorelli?
Which one?
Oh no,
With
Schultz has a
Schultz,
couple.
yeah. Yeah, Schultz. The one I think it's called Flagrant.
That's just
Where
him.
they
Yeah,
sit, they
he's got
sit on
people with him,
the,
right? They're a bunch
yeah,
of
you got people with them,
chairs.
yeah, bunch of chairs. That one, the one, yeah, we had Stephen A. Smith on it recently. That
I
was a
think I know what
dope
you're talking about.
episode. And then yeah, I'll fuck with Rogan's too. And then sometimes I'll listen to like, um, sometimes I'll listen to like parenting podcasts when I want to know some tips or what to do. Mental health podcasts,
Bro, have
you
you
know,
listened to
shit like
Cat and
that.
Nat? Have you
No,
heard
what
about
is
these people?
Cat and Nat? Let me type that down. Cat and
It's
Nat.
it's two moms that have a bunch of fucking kids and they just talk about the fucking ruthless shit that comes from parenting, and kids are fucking crazy, and they're like, stop being the mom that sits at home feeling bad if they don't do shit, if you don't do everything you need to for your fucking kids. Like, they're just like very like cutthroat, no filter, tell you how it is.
Cat
They talk
and
about
Nat. Cat
cat
CANT.
CAT and NAT. They're out of
CANT.
Toronto. Like, they do fucking shows all across the states now. Like, they're fucking selling out venues. Like, they
And they
show.
just talk about parenting.
Oh fuck yeah. And just like the like no filter, life is not perfect, like social media shit. I'm interviewing them March 1st. They're fucking on, like, I've been listening to them for a while now. I've been trying to get this interview for like a year. So it's
Okay.
they're fucking cool to listen to. They're just fucking cutthroat mums, and it's kind of hilarious. I don't even have kids and their shit's funny as fuck.
Yeah, I
All
will
right.
listen to that. Yeah.
Another question, and it's one that I have started to think about this whole podcast because I don't think I and I hope this doesn't come across rude. I
Go
don't
ahead.
know how Filipinos age because I didn't know that you had 4 fucking kids before I got on this podcast. How old are you?
I'm 38.
Fucking shit. Dude, you guys
Yeah.
age so much better than we do. Holy fuck.
I'm 38. Yeah. It's well, if I take off my hat, you can see how 38 I am.
You're
But
Yeah, well, I got a lot of fucking bald ass 27-year-old buddies. Don't you worry. Like, but I'm
but
just sitting here. I'm like, man, you know what? A lot of people talk about like having white privilege and all this shit. And I'm like, man, we age like fucking Buick seats. Like, we've got some fucking downfalls in us. All right. Like, looking at you, like, fuck, man, you know, not like 38 with 4 kids. God damn. When I first saw your fucking videos, dude, I thought you were like late 20s, maybe 30 years old.
no, that's good, man. Thanks, man. That's no, I'm happy. Trust me. I think
You got a lot of
there's a
shit
lot of
done at
times,
38.
bro. There's times where I'm looking at my life like, oh, am I too old now? And then, but my age is
Fuck
like, no, man,
no.
you're still getting these roles. You're still getting these auditions for young kids. I'm
Bro,
like, okay, fuck it. I'm like, fuck it. Like,
I
apparently, the guy who played Zach Morris in Saved by the Bell was like 30 years old or something like that. But go ahead.
you're like, I
Yeah,
got fucking opportunities, man. I'd be in the new Saved by the Bell. Like, I like Tom Segura, Burt Kreischer. Like,
yeah,
Tom Segura is my like my number one. Like, he's the one that I like relate to with his type of comedy. And like, I don't know if you did this when you started comedy, but like you kind of like seem to like mimic not their jokes, but their kind of their
Like cadence.
delivery of jokes kind of thing. He's been
Yeah.
my person for that. But fuck, goddamn it, I hate when I forget what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh, you're thinking that you're too old. I like following him, it fucking made me realize that you're never too fucking old. He was like early 40s before he even started to take off. Like Bert Kreischer's fucking 50 now, and it took him like 15 fucking years. He didn't start till he was like late 20s to even start to think that this is something that he wanted to do. Like it just makes you realize like it's a different fucking time for everyone. You know how many goddamn motivational videos I've watched that's like, don't worry about not being successful in your 20s. Use it as a trial run to figure out what the fuck you want to do. And I'm just like, thank God people are putting out this
Yeah,
information.
no, man, it's crazy too. And here's the thing. I say this a lot. There's two things that I think are a young person's game. An athlete, obviously, right? And
Yeah.
I think like maybe like rap music. No
Okay.
one wants to listen to like a 40-year-old talk about being a gangster. It's like, come on, man, seriously, you're 40, bro. Let's right. You're still selling crack. Come on, man. No,
Grow
uh
up.
but comedy, I always say this, comedy is an old man's game. Comedy, you'll never, when's the last time you saw on YouTube 12-year-old prodigy stand-up comedian? Fucking never,
True.
dude. Never. That's why the later you start, here's like, I know comics that have started young and they got a recognition at like 28, early 30s. And I know comics who started late in life at around 28 and 30 and then got recognition right away as once they started, because you have that life experience. So you're funny. You know what I mean? Like, what's the 21-year-old kid gonna talk about? Like dick jokes and you know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
the older
No
you
life
get,
experience, right? Like
yeah, none.
how are you supposed to be relatable at that age? Like I still like
Exactly.
even at 27, like I find it funny to just complain about being 27. My life's so fucking hard. I feel like it's a joke to the people that are actually going to listen to you because they're like, you're a fucking wimp. Get your life together. Like,
Uh,
uh,
but 27's prime year too for I honestly I think like you're starting comedy now at 27. I think that's the best time to start because you still have that young chirpy humor,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you're hip to it, so you can relate to the kids, but you're also old enough to relate to older people. You know what I mean? So it's such a good age because you're mature in your you know in the way you look at life, but you're
yeah,
also young at heart, and you know what I mean. So you still have that fuck you attitude.
yeah. Yeah, definitely have that attitude. I definitely like, I'm at the moment right now where like when I did that show for Sandy, like I felt like right away I had such a fucking adrenaline rush and I was so goddamn excited and pumped that I got through that first 7 minutes, got some decent laughs, definitely had some jokes that immediately after I sat down and watched more acts, I'm sitting there critiquing my jokes of ways that I could have reworded it or stated it differently or moved it around to a different section of my bit, like what I wanted to make better. And it made me just want to go to the next stage and the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. And my lazy ass didn't go like I was just waiting for the Rusty Nail to have another stand-up set, and they didn't for months, not realizing levity is 40 minutes away and I could go every single fucking Wednesday. I need to hit it over and over and over and over and over again. I can't put this time in between these sets because I feel like I go right back to being nervous and not trusting in the stuff that was working and not critiquing the stuff that's working. And I don't know. It sounds like a fucking blab, but I'm fucking stoked to touch base and hit these comedy shows, and I'm hoping to open for some of the guys that I've interviewed now that are fucking crushing it. That would feel like success. Like just getting to the point where I'm being recognized or being noticed that at least I'm fucking funny to some of the guys that I fucking find hilarious, like you and Casey Corbin and Big Norm and a bunch of these guys. Like fucking
No,
that's the
man.
dream anyway. That's why I love to interview you guys.
No, it's great, and that enthusiasm is exactly what you need, man. And like, you gotta love this shit. And there was one time I did Joker's Richmond Hill this weekend, and there was a young kid, second time on stage. The owner threw him up, and he was like, uh, "I got this young kid. Maybe you could, you know, school him and let him know. I think he's very funny. He has a lot of potential. Check him out." So he comes, he does his show. Yeah, he ends up being a Filipino guy too. So Steve, the owner of Joker's Club, introduced me to him. He comes on, he does well. He does well enough for a guy at his second time on stage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I was like, oh man, he had. I ended up inviting him to my Filipino show. I'm like, hey, you want to come drop a set on Sunday? This guy was like, oh my god, bro, yeah.
That's
He
fucking
went nuts.
awesome.
But the thing with it, he came up to me and he was like, would you have any critique things to say about my set or any advice about my material or my jokes? And I go, dude, I don't want to. And when I tell this to every new comic, I'm like, I'm not going to tell you how to make things funnier, because comedy is subjective. This is your humor. The only thing that I will tell you what to do is just keep going. It's like, it's one of those things where you'll figure it out what your comedic voice is when you keep going. Like, love it so much that you're willing to do it for 2 people, 200 people, 2,000 people. Don't fucking matter. Just keep doing it and get a set ready. Have a nice little 7-minute set ready. So everywhere you go, and that's the thing. When you ask me, is there pressure going to the States? And there's not pressure of me, because I have my 7 ready for new places. I have my 10 ready for people who haven't seen me before. Like, I notice a lot of guys who've been doing it for a long time, and then they'll be like, hey Keith, can you help me get me on this show? I want to impress this person. And I'll bring them, and then they'll be like, not prepared. And I'm like, dog, you've been doing this for so long, you should have been prepared by now. Like, that's the only advice that I could tell any up and coming comedian, is like exactly what you're saying. Like, bro, I want to gut there every day. I want to reword it. I want to listen back to it. Yeah, love it, man. Love the craft. And like, I think honestly, you got the podcast, so you're in the right, you're in the right lane, because people can check you out before even checking you out, which is what you need. You know what I mean? Right? Because back in the day, it was like, you want to impress an agent, you would have to invite him to a show. And he's like, I can't. I'm going to fly out to LA, or I'm in Vancouver, but you have a podcast. So it's like, here's something you can check me out on right now. Here's something you could, so you already have the right formula, if you know what I'm saying. You like it, you love, yeah.
First off, I respect the fact that, like, even just that kid who came up for a second time, for you to reach out and just say, like, you want to come out Sunday, like, I know that it's getting more common. It seems like almost the new generation, or like the current up and riser comedians, are a little more. I think it's given. It's so hard to judge as a fucking newbie, but it seems like this generation's a little more of like, bring the guys that you know. Like, I've seen like you and Big Norm and all these guys like follow each other. Like, it's like a fucking, you're across North America, or you're across the continent, and you know each other, you communicate with each other, you end up around each other on the same kind of shows, you talk about each other, you see each other. Like, it's a lot of respect to see you bring this kid and give an opportunity, and saying stuff like this to me, who has done one open mic. And I have a hard time portraying the type of comedy that I like to do when I'm doing it through Zoom, like the delay and the like, try not to overlap each other, and the like trying to like just keep the conversation going when there's a delay in Zoom, and not knowing if you're wanting to speak while I'm speaking. And it's definitely something that I can't fucking wait to just sit across from one another, have a fucking drink that I don't charge the person for, and just chat and, you know what, get to know one another and just shoot the shit. Like, the reason why I do such a fucking this question, what do you think of this, how do you want to advance in this, like that, like I'd rather just have the fucking shoot the shit. Like, do you fucking believe in aliens? What do you think about this world? Do you think the fucking place is gonna burn to the ground? Like, I want to talk about stupid shit, but it's kind of hard to keep that convo over Zoom. So I can't wait to just build a studio. I've got the gear to do it. I just got to start building it and have people like you back on for a fucking couple drinks and shoot the shit. So
yeah, for sure, man.
I appreciate you. I appreciate all the info you've given me. I continue to follow you. Go check out Keith Pedro on Instagram. Click his there's a link there to go through all of his stuff, the stuff he's been on. Is that the best way for people to reach you?
Right now, yeah, I post. I'm most active on my Instagram at Keith Pedro, but I also post everything on TikTok. Facebook is my fan page out there, so you can check that at Keith Pedro as well, and Keith Pedro Comedy. Sorry, and yeah, man, that's pretty much it. You can check me out there. I post a lot of stuff, or KeithPedro.com. That's where you can get my merch and my tour dates. All that stuff is there.
So below the episode, you'll see the link to his website. You'll see the link to his Instagram. Go check it out. The Trilipino stuff is hilarious. Like, the fucking merch looks sick. Like
Thanks, buddy.
I've watched you guys share that so much throughout the like. It seemed like it was more recent. Like it seemed like it's brought up all the time, but the merch looks dope. And check out some of his stand up. Like you can see some of his. You got, if you're listening right now, go find out. His name is Keith. It's fucking jokes. Seen this a handful of times now. Find out what you're going to see. Thanks for your fucking time, Keith. It was an absolute pleasure to chat with you. Can't wait to chat with you again. I wish you nothing but the best going forward, and have a good night.
No, man. Thanks, Greg, man. And this was fun, bro. Keep it up and hit me up if you ever need anything, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Really enjoy, and have a great night. Good luck with everything.
You too, man. Peace.
Peace.